Call the regular council meeting for the corporation of the town of Cobalt to order on February 4th, 2025 at 6:30. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Okay, public meetings or none. Deputations, delegation. We have Jeff Manners from the Northeastern Public Health, Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan. Jeff, like to come up? Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me this evening. I will start by a brief rundown of what the CSWB plan is all about, and I'll take some questions at the end. So as part of provincial legislation enacted in 2019, municipalities were required to develop and adopt community safety and well-being plans, working in partnership with multi-sectoral advisory committee comprised of representation from the Police Service Board and other local providers in health and mental health, education, community and social services, and children and youth services. This approach allows municipalities to take a leadership role in defining and addressing priority risks in the community through proactive integrated strategies that ensure vulnerable populations receive the help they need from the providers best suited to support them. Temiskaming's CSWB plan was developed in 2021 in response to provincial legislation, requiring every municipality in Ontario to develop such a plan. Its development was led by Temiskaming DSAB on behalf of the 23 municipalities in Temiskaming, plus the municipality of Timogin. So the plan was developed by a consultant. It was overseen by a local steering committee and supported by a local advisory committee. So slides that are displayed right now show the advisory committees and also members of our steering committee. And this slide shows the agencies that were part of the development of the plan. So the CSWB plan is a district-wide plan that identifies a shared set of priorities and opportunities for action related to community safety and well-being. It is a highly collaborative, living document that is designed to improve the coordination of services, information sharing, advocacy, and partnerships, and ultimately the quality of life of Temiskaming District residents. So this slide shows the Ontario model for CSWB planning framework. So in the plan, the priority actions fall within the 4 levels of intervention: social development, prevention, risk intervention, and incident response. So for all the work we are doing, we try to address issues where they are occurring, while also addressing their root causes. So the plan outlines 6 priorities: health and well-being, housing, employment and economy, poverty, community safety, and environment and sustainability. For each of these, possible areas for action were also identified. So last year, during the launch of the plan, a vote was taken to determine which 3 priority areas would be focused on. The 3 that were chosen are health and well-being, housing, which developed into housing and homelessness, and community safety. So the CSWB itself is not an organization, but a collective who are working together to coordinate change in the district. Change that is in many cases made by others who may not even be directly involved in the governance structure. To help us along, we've adopted a model called collective impact, which is seen here. We have identified a common agenda for change, which is the CSWB plan. We are in the process of developing shared measurement for data and results. We try to implement or encourage others to implement activities that help the plan move forward. We have a governance structure and continue to develop communications that encourage us all to stay connected and informed. And we have a backbone organization that supports coordination, which is NEF. After DSAB coordinated the development of the plan, the Temiskaming Health Unit, which is now known as Northeastern Public Health, or NEF, stepped into the role of backbone agency. This includes hosting me, the CSWB coordinator, to which all municipalities have contributed. NEF is also hosting a web page dedicated to the CSWB implementation. So my role includes handling communications and planning tasks, facilitating working groups, monitoring the reporting on the progress of the CSWB plan, and implementing initiatives developed by the work groups. And this slide that is up right now reflects how we've structured ourselves to support working as a whole community on implementing priorities. So we have our steering committee, we have working groups that address each of the priority areas, the coordinator who helps keep things organized, and the host agency. So over the last year, many milestones and accomplishments have been reached. We established a district-wide municipal commitment with all 24 municipalities. NEF committed to acting as the backbone organization, recruiting a full-time project coordinator. We launched the CSWB just over a year ago in September of 2023, and we identified our priorities for action. We established a steering committee and developed terms of reference, and that steering committee has met monthly. We established 3 working groups and developed work plans, and they have met regularly as well. As coordinator, I also joined the Ontario Municipal Social Services Association's network of CSWB coordinators in Ontario. We developed a partnership with the Temiskaming Foundation to link the 2024 Temiskaming Vital Signs report to the plan. We launched a media release announcing the plan's implementation, created and shared a 6-month progress report with CSWB partners and media. We presented about the plan to various groups, such as the Temiskaming District Road Safety Coalition, the Temiskaming Stay on Your Feet Coalition, and the Temiskaming District Violence Against Women Coordinating Committee, and continue these presentations today. We developed a logo and a Facebook page, and we released the first edition of a quarterly newsletter to update our partners on our progress. We hosted 2 delegations to the Association of Municipalities of Ontario conference, advocating for provincial support for the plan implementation, and provided a backgrounder to the Rural Ontario Municipal Association to inform their advocacy efforts on this topic. In addition, our many partners have come together to be part of our working groups and have had an impact on reaching our work plan goals. We continue to collaborate and move forward together. Thank you very much for your time. If there are any questions, I would be happy to take them as I am able to see all of you.
Anybody have any questions?
Just in a general sense, how many people are you helping?
I couldn't give you a number, but whoever is in need of help. So what the plan is designed to do is we're there to support the municipalities in whatever initiatives that they feel their communities need. For instance, when we presented to the township with that one of their questions was in regards to youth engagement and activity, physical activity. They were finding it difficult to get their youth in their community engaged. So what the CSWB plan and the people that are involved in that, the steering committee and myself as coordinator would be to look at initiatives that we could pass on to them and support we could give them to start implementing those initiatives in the area. We can look at different municipalities who are part of the CSWB plan who may be doing similar initiatives to be able to connect them together so that they can talk to someone who's been part of the planning of an initiative that would help and be able to have somebody to kind of walk them through things like that. We send letters to government to advocate for anything from funding for seniors programs to funding for youth programs to funding for programs for disabled. The list goes on and on. anything to do with community safety and well-being. I'm currently assisting someone on the District Road Safety Coalition to put together a road safety forum to help improve the safety of our roads in the municipality of all of those things are happening all at the same time. But it's very much a coordinated, collaborative effort. And I'm just kind of the guy that helps keep everything organized. Robbie Donaldson, who's with me today, is from the Salvation Army. He's part of our steering committee, but he's also a co-chair on our housing and homelessness work group. And so they have multiple initiatives and things happening to help support our homeless population, to help with increasing housing in our area, in our different municipalities, and working closely with DSAB, working closely with Zach's Crib, and I'll let you.
Probably the easiest way to answer your question on numbers is for the whole district of Temiskaming, there's something called the by names list, the BNL. So any individuals who are unsheltered are on that list because they've been paired up with somebody from an agency who will partner them from unsheltered to sheltered, from homelessness to housing. And so we follow the numbers through the by names list. So for example, in January, there was a total of 21, I was going to say 2,100, excuse me, 21 people unsheltered in the whole district. And each of those individuals, we break them into whether they're youth, Indigenous, seniors, families, singles. We track those demographics and then we follow them. We make sure they're hooked up with an agency who will help follow them through the process, whether that's getting them into social housing or helping them with rent supplements so they can. And basically, we're running about, in terms of who we help, I'd say it's an average of like 3 to 4 people a month being housed. And really that's because of the bottleneck. There is no housing stock available. And as you would know, that's big on the political agenda at the moment, is the lack of housing stock. But that's one of the examples of how I can explain how many people we help.
Part of that political conundrum we're in about actually getting houses built. Has there been any assistance from the provincial government in a big way to assist in getting?
Not yet, no. There has been assistance in many other ways. We have a program called Reaching Home, which is financed by the Ontario government. It's not federal, it's Ontario. And they're the ones that offer supplements for people, for rent supplements, so they can get into private housing. But in terms of new builds, I believe I'm correct in saying that in our district, we have not seen any assistance from the government in terms of any new builds, social or private housing. No, not yet. It seems there's announcements every week in the paper, but that town, but
Not yet done.
And the plan itself, it was a provincial government mandate. But since the mandate in early 2020, 2021, the provincial government has yet to offer any type of funding. So the funding for our area comes from you guys, from the municipalities. But that is also something that we do. We continue to advocate to the government to look at the possibility of getting some funding for this plan that they thought was important enough to mandate. So now the plan is to make them believe it's important enough to continue and to fund somehow. Other than that, any funding that we would need, we would have to look for ourselves and apply.
Um, The way you're saying that, does this mean you're coming to see us for funding?
Well, not right now. No, we,
I apologize.
Cobalt and all of the other municipalities have already given the funding for, I believe it's a 2 year, so it was 2024, 2025. So at the end of that, the CSWB steering committee will come back and will ask for that funding to be reinstated again, unless other funding has been made available at that time, which we always hope will happen. But that I guess is part of the reason why I'm making presentations to the councils too, is that eventually we probably will be coming to ask for some assistance again financially. And so I'm here to let you know that the plan is actually good. And it is being effective. We are in the process of developing a data dashboard that will be posted online to show the progress in numbers. So, you know, we'll show the percentage of people who were helped and the, you know, how within the statistics, the implementation of the plan has actually improved the community. And the vital signs report actually does that a little bit as well, which is why it's connected with us and with the CSWB.
I think what we are asking, I may say, which tonight is not money, but we do need people that from the municipalities, because this is the municipalities plan. It is not the Salvation Armies or Canadian Mental Health or the Health Unit. So we really would encourage anybody from the municipality to join on steering committee. That's maybe Jeff's party piece, but
so we're always open to members of the municipalities, especially of the municipal councils, to join us on either our steering committee or any of our work groups. So our working groups, we have a housing and homelessness one, we have a safety and well-being group, and we have a community safety and well-being, and we have a health and well-being. And so the steering committee meetings are once a month, and they're about an hour and a half long at the very most. The work group meetings, we've recently just changed, and it's right now we're trying quarterly meetings. So on a work group, you would have 4 meetings over the course of the year, and you may get a little task to help out with. But it's a fairly small a piece of time that we would need. So it would give you a chance to speak for your community as well and your municipality, and to have a good idea of what exactly is going on throughout the year.
Do you have to be, does the council have to be appointed to this, or is it just show up?
Steve has my contact information, my email. Send me an email and say, I'm interested in being part of whatever you need. I can send you the terms of reference so you can read through if you're interested in the steering committee, and you can make a decision based on that. And I'll answer any other questions that you might have.
Okay.
If you're interested in a work group, I am more than happy to answer questions or direct you to one of our co-chairs who also can.
Let's see. There's how you get on. And Angela sent me like the last 2 meetings have been due. Well, one was the homeless situation thing that was in Liskeard, and I think there was, at least 20 of us there. everyone was representing a different agency or part of an agency. And I think there was maybe only 2 of us that were off of councils. And everyone else was, so it was good to hear, and that's where we got to know each other. And every time we see, okay, just passing any information back and forth.
That was, I knew I recognized you when you came in. That would have been at the update event in Englehart. In September, I believe you attended.
No, the first one I went to was, it was in Liskeard at the,
Oh.
yeah, I was at the update too, and that was the
Yeah.
one that was, talking about all the health unit and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was a full update on that as to
Talking about
who's moving
progress
where
so
and
far.
doing what. And it's just, it gives a lot of background and information. But there's lots of room for lots. Step in.
Is there going to be a focus on mental health, the shortages of providers for mental health services?
Absolutely. That mental health is a big part as well. And it does fall under the health and well-being working group. So yeah, there's a lot that has to do with mental health. And before I started this job in August, I worked 10 years for the Canadian Mental Health Association. So mental health is near and dear to my heart as well. So I'm always
Yeah, so that's
low key pushing for
that's
it.
the biggest thing I hear from out in the public is that there's a real shortage and they can get referred, but to get in to see anybody is really difficult.
And I know that the CMHA has had some changes happening, and they're working on rebuilding a little bit. And so I feel like that will happen. It's going to take a little bit of time. In the meantime, we're looking at any other resources or supports that we can offer up, that we can direct people to. So yeah, I understand that absolutely, both from a CSWB standpoint and a frontline mental health worker standpoint. So.
Thank you very much.
We're gonna realize.
Thank you for having us.
And see you guys again.
Take care.
Angela, I didn't even ask if you had any.
Too quiet. You're just too quiet, Angela.
It's okay. I'll speak up when I need to.
All right.
5, adoption of meeting agenda, draft motion. Be it resolved that council approve the agenda of the regular meeting dated February 4th, 2025 as presented. I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor LaFleur, Councillor Starchuk. Any corrections, omissions? On favor? Okay, carried. 6, adoption of previous council minutes, draft motion. Be it resolved that council approve the following minutes as presented. Regular meeting of council, January 14th, 2025. Need a mover and a seconder? Councillor Anderson and Councillor LaFleur. Any corrections to the minutes? Okay, all in favor? Carried. 7, staff reports, draft motion. Be it resolved that council accept the staff reports as presented. I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Anderson and Councillor LaFleur. Okay, discussion, 7.1 bylaw enforcement report, October 2024 to January 25th, 2025. Any clarification required? Looking forward to the bylaw. No? Okay, 7.2 animal control reports, July, August, September, and October 2024. No. 7.3 staff report, 2025-02-04-01. Appoint persons to a Cobalt Committee of Adjustment.
Your worship, may I speak on that?
Yeah.
The last committee of adjustment Cobalt has back
bylaw 1998 02. This is what's used for decisions on minor variances. It includes that council members as well as members. So what we want to do is reestablish this. So therefore, bylaw, if passed today, would be proposed of having council members and then going to the public in a very short time to see if anyone's interested in joining the committee. Because that one from 1998, I believe there may have been at least 5 individuals and maybe 1 or 2 councils. So it bypasses it, everything come to council, it goes to the committee of adjustment. Other municipalities use that. In fact, not only municipalities, but cities.
So just to clarify, as residents step up and want to go on to the committee of adjustment, then a counselor will step down.
We need to establish it. That's the key right now.
So how many counselors do they allow on that committee?
There is no set number, but it must have a minimum of 3 members.
3 council members?
No, 3
Oh,
members.
3 members.
Yeah.
I think we have more than that. About 5.
Yeah, 5 individuals. And out of the group of 1998, I think only 2 individuals still live in the area. So we have to receive that bylaw out.
Counselor Wilcox?
So when would the ad for volunteers?
Well, that would be going out if passed tomorrow. Yeah, and we put it for a few weeks.
Okay, so all in favor? Carried. Items for council consideration, 8.1, planning services from Timiskaming Municipal Services Association, TMSA. Draft motion, whereas council for the corporation of the town of Cobalt has received information from the Timiskaming Municipal Services Association, TMSA, regarding the adoption of planning as a mandatory service. Be it resolved that council hereby supports the integration of planning as a mandatory service with the Timiskaming Municipal Services Association, TMSA. Mover and a seconder. Councillor Anderson, Councillor LaFleur. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Carried. 9, items for council information, draft motion. Be it resolved that council accept the items for council information as presented. I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor LaFleur and Councillor Starchuk. Okay, discussion 9.1 staff report 2025-02-04-02 fire protection grant 2024 targeting cancer prevention.
May I speak on that?
Yeah.
Last fall, the fire chief and I submitted an application to the 2024 fire protection grant. It was targeting cancer prevention this year. So what was requested was what they call an extractor. And what this is like a washing machine, but it's designed to take the chemicals off of the bunker gear, off of the firefighters. So like currently right now, it's just a normal washer there. That will be eliminated, put in this extractor, and also a new set of bunker gear. We were awarded $8,230.45.
That's a special washing machine.
Yeah, it's designed to take all those chemicals out, anything that
So
our
industrial.
volunteer firefighters come across.
Okay. 9.2 bylaw 2013-037 to regulate the keeping of animals and registration of dogs and cats within the town of Cobalt. And I'll speak to this. I've asked for this to be put on the agenda so that everybody can request a copy of the bylaw from the office and bring some ideas to the next meeting for updating our animal control bylaw. It's very outdated and it definitely needs a fresh outlook. I know one of the things I've been in looking into is if we can impose a minimum square footage per animal. So that animals aren't crammed into very small places. Because it does not make for a happy animal and it makes for a dangerous animal in some cases. So
I
we'll-
refer you to Toronto's bylaw on cats and dogs. They identify specific sizing for any kind of outdoor kennels, that sort of thing. Enough room that they can lie down, sit up, stand up per animal, that kind of thing. But it's very well written, nicely presented, do well.
Very good. And those are the discussions that we'll have at our next meeting about all of this. So if anybody has any ideas and you have the background where to find good wording for it, even better. Counselor Anderson?
All those dimensions for outdoor stuff are in there. I think what you're referring to, what I
Indoor.
hope you're referring to is indoors. How small, how many, you know, how many animals in what size residence? So if you just have a small apartment, it should be more limited. You've just got a room. It should be even more limited. That's because that's been a problem here, and to me, it's a problem for the animals. And the good part of this speaks for the animals, not for the owners.
Well, I
This is-
figure if the building code imposes a minimum square footage in their regulations for housing, then there should be a minimum square footage for housing for animals, indoors or outdoors. If you can barely turn around in your residence, to have a large animal in there does not make any sense. Everybody deserves companionship, but it should be geared to how you live as well.
I can think about that one. We'll have a wonderful discussion next.
I'm
meeting.
sure we will.
And
I hope I don't miss
look
that
for
one.
that in somewhere.
I always thought it was nice in close spaces to turn around and meet a friend, you know, right?
But it's how close? Yeah.
Well, we'll see next.
Does that animal, this has to do also with the dog tags and cat tag, or like a dog.
For licensing animals and stuff as well, yes, yes. The other thing that I would like to introduce into ours is exotic animals. Because that's becoming more and more of an issue, as we've seen by some surrounding municipalities and some issues they've had, because that's not regulated by the federal or the provincial government.
I like the part in there that says you can't take them out in public on the street, like the states. Because we've had that problem.
Yeah, but now we have people keeping monkeys and other animals that aren't covered under an animal control bylaw. If you're bitten by a monkey and you can never donate blood again.
Because the monkey took it all?
No, because primates carry something that stays in your body.
A disease.
You might want to check with municipalities to see what municipal act allows us to pass legislation on. This might be ultra-virus for us.
Actually, no, Latchford's already been working on this with legal counsel. To come up with a bylaw. It's come to our TMA meetings as well. So I know it's in the works. We just need to find out if it passed all the scrutiny that we can borrow. Okay, so those are just some of the things that I've thought of. So, and I would like to bring down the number of animals that we do allow per house. So, and that's something I've heard from a lot of residents as well. That our number is excessive.
Again, in Toronto, I think it's 3 dogs. I always like to go to Toronto because it's a big city with lots of animals.
And we cannot totally abolish chickens either.
No, I was just gonna mention, but not abolish chickens, but the thing is that's including chickens including?
Yeah, we have chickens in our current one.
Oh, no, I don't.
It's all in there.
Yeah, it's all in there. I kind of hit it. And I wasn't sure exactly what it meant.
We can have chickens.
No rooster.
Yeah, because they're noisy.
Like, no,
That's the
No,
only
because
reason.
everybody's allowed to have a secure food source.
no, no problem. I'm good with it.
Okay, so any other ideas, write them down, see what you can dig up. And then we can bring them to the meeting and staff will chime in and help us out. Okay. And all in favor? Better vote on that. Carry. 10, bylaws and amendments. 10.1, bylaw 2025-05, appoint persons to the Cobalt Committee of Adjustments. This is related to the staff report 2025-02-401. Draft motion, whereas council received staff report 2025-02-0401 with a recommendation to adopt bylaw 2025-05. Now therefore be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-05 being a bylaw to establish a committee of adjustments in accordance with section 44 of the Planning Act RSO 1990 CP 13 be hereby established, and the following members of council shall be considered and hereby appointed to the Town of Cobalt Committee of Adjustments for the period of 1 year. Angela Adsett, Gary Hughes, Renee LaFleur, Douglas Wilcox, Pat Anderson, Angela Hunter, Jim Starchuk. And further that Stephen Daly be appointed as secretary for the Town of Cobalt Committee of Adjustments. Be taken as read a first, second, and third time this 4th day of February 2025. And further that the said bylaw be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk. Mover and a seconder. And Councillor Startup, Councillor Henderson, any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Carried. 11, unfinished business, there is none. New business, schedule of accounts, 12.1, draft motion be it resolved the council receives the following schedules as presented. Schedule number 2025-02 in the amount of $38,441.15. Schedule number 2025-03 in the amount of $144,068.15. Need a mover and a seconder? Councillor LaFleur and Councillor Wilcox, any discussion, questions? All in favor? Carried. Mayor's report, I don't have anything. 14, closed meeting, draft motion, be it resolved the council convene in closed session as per section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended in order to address a matter pertaining to subsection 2B, personal matter about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. A mover and seconder, Councillor LaFleur and Councillor Starchuk. All in favor? Carried. And just to advise, we won't be continuing the recording after we come back from closed. Okay, and then we'll take a 10-minute recess.